General Hospital spoilers for Friday, March 28 tease that Ava is entering a darker, more calculating phase than ever before in Port Charles. After a series of relentless events, from the loss of loved ones, betrayal by those she once trusted, to looming threats from both the past and present, Ava no longer clings to the fragile facade of a wounded woman. She is transforming into a survivor, a player with a sharp strategy in a power game where trust is a luxury and deception is the deadliest weapon. One of the biggest changes in Ava's behavior is her ability to suppress her emotions and handle everything with cold calculation. In the past, she might have acted impulsively, letting anger guide her, but now Ava understands that to defeat people like Sunny, Carly, and even Nina, she needs to be one step ahead of them. And in the moments where she was looked down upon or hurt, Ava discovered leverage that she could use to climb to the top. When her relationship with Nina began to fracture due to secrets and schemes involving Drew, Ava had no choice but to stand alone. But that is not weakness, it is liberation. Ava no longer needs allies if those around her are always potential threats. She begins to build an information network, using charm, old relationships, and even former enemies to serve one sole purpose, survival and control. Now, Ava holds dangerous secrets, not just about Nina and Drew, but also about Portia, Curtis, and even Jason. She knows key pieces of information and is waiting for the right moment to reveal them like cards that will put her opponents on the defensive. And if necessary, she is ready to sacrifice personal relationships to protect herself. Christina's return, potential dangers from Sidwell, and Sunny's weakening position due to health issues are all creating the ideal environment for Ava to rise. She is no longer a victim. She is rewriting the rules. The question now is no longer whether Ava is strong enough to endure the storm, but who will be strong enough to stand against her when Ava officially becomes one of the most formidable forces in Port Charles. And while all other forces are fighting amongst themselves, Ava is quietly but surely building her own empire, an empire based not on family ties or trust, but on fear, information, and power. In the halls of General Hospital, a space typically reserved for quiet conversations between patients and doctors, the atmosphere is charged with a decisive conversation between Liz and Tracy. The subject at hand is Drew, the man who is slowly losing the trust of those who once believed in him. The conversation begins with scattered doubts and small details, but soon turns into a silent confrontation with an increasingly dangerous and expanding power. Liz, with the sensitivity and sharp intuition of an experienced nurse, has sensed the changes in Drew recently. He is no longer the sincere man who once helped her through tough times but is now surrounded by shady behavior, mysterious relationships, and rumors of dubious political dealings. Liz can no longer turn a blind eye when her friends, from Portia to Willow, even Nina, are becoming entangled in the unclear truths surrounding Drew. Tracy, who is not one to easily soften, cannot stand the idea of an outsider like Drew attempting to control ELQ and exploit the Quartermain family's reputation. With her sharp and direct nature, Tracy has been keeping an eye on Drew for a long time, and now, with the new information Liz brings from the hospital, the pieces begin to fall into place in a dangerously alarming way. Drew is not just a family issue, he is a ticking bomb waiting to explode in the middle of Port Charles. Both Liz and Tracy, coming from different worlds, one tied to the hospital and its patients, the other a symbol of financial power, see a common threat forming. They are not simply gossiping, they are carefully calculating their next steps. Tracy favors a strategy of public attack, bringing Drew to light with concrete evidence of extortion and manipulation. Meanwhile, Liz wants to approach from within, probing into Drew's connections with patients, medical documents, and even whispers from doctors who have interacted with him. The combination of Tracy's cold determination and Liz's deep empathy is creating a dangerous undercurrent for Drew. They are not alone, as many others in Port Charles have also begun to see the dark side of this controversial senator. And as their quiet investigation deepens, Liz and Tracy know they cannot back down. This story is not just about exposing the truth about Drew, it is a battle for justice, for the reputation of innocent people who have been exploited, and for the balance that is slowly eroding in Port Charles. Liz and Tracy, unexpectedly, are becoming a powerful alliance, and when these two strong women act together, the consequences will certainly be seismic. Drew may have gone too far, and resistance is now inevitable. Christina is living in emotional chaos like never before, as regret gnaws at her every moment. The actions she thought would simply be a way to teach Ava, a woman she still believes is the cause of her family's destruction and her father's pain, have spiraled out of control. Her interference with Ava's car, which she thought was just a warning, has become the direct cause of a serious accident, injuring not only Ava but also Rick and Elizabeth, setting off a chain of severe consequences. But what tortures Christina the most is not just the innocent victims, but the fact that she has dragged Lucky, who was once a symbol of righteousness and justice in Port Charles, into an unpredictable and dangerous spiral. Christina had placed her absolute trust in Lucky, believing he would protect her, understand, and cover up this mistake out of compassion for the Corinthos family. But she didn't realize that this meant putting Lucky in a position where he must choose between saving her or sacrificing his reputation, moral principles, and career. Chaos like never before, as regret gnaws at her every moment. The actions she thought would simply be a way to teach Ava, a woman she still believes is the cause of her family's destruction and her father's pain, have spiraled out of control. Her interference with Ava's car, which she thought was just a warning, has become the direct cause of a serious accident, injuring not only Ava but also Rick and Elizabeth, setting off a chain of severe consequences. But what tortures Christina the most is not just the innocent victims, but the fact that she has dragged Lucky, who was once a symbol of righteousness and justice in Port Charles, into an unpredictable and dangerous spiral. Christina had placed her absolute trust in Lucky, believing he would protect her, understand, and cover up this mistake out of compassion for the Corinthos family. But she didn't realize that this meant putting Lucky in a position where he must choose between saving her or sacrificing his reputation, moral principles, and career. Lucky, already scarred from the past, is now caught in a criminal cover-up that could destroy everything he has worked to rebuild after years away from Port Charles. He is torn between family and the truth, between saving Christina or protecting justice, and this is what is putting pressure on their fragile relationship, making it crack from within. Worse still, it seems Christina's actions are pushing her closer to her worst nightmare, losing Sonny's trust and support. As she tries to protect her father from external impacts, she is actually driving him into the eye of the storm. Sonny, already weakened physically and mentally from his heart condition and personal crises, may not be able to bear the shock of discovering that his daughter was behind the accident. And if Ava or anyone else uncovers the truth, it will not only be the end of Christina's image in Sonny's eyes, but also an irreparable rift in the Corinthos family. Meanwhile, Lucky is no longer an outsider. He is starting to question what Christina hasn't told him. The pieces about the conspiracy, Ava's involvement, and whether Sonny knows or has intervened in this matter are making Lucky more cautious than ever. He not only has to face the responsibility of being a former cop, but also struggle with his feelings for Christina, someone both pitiable and dangerous in her reckless yet passionate actions. The story between Christina and Lucky is no longer just a secret to hide. It is a ticking time bomb that could explode at any moment, bringing down trust, long-built relationships, and even the safety of those they care about most. In the meantime, Christina is beginning to realize that trying to control everything to protect her family is the quickest way to make it all collapse. And once the secret is revealed, the question is no longer who is to blame, but who will still stand after it all. Anna stood still in the darkness of the office, the faint light filtering through the frosted glass window, bringing old memories flooding back like a film being played in reverse. Each image, each moment with Valentine, became vivid in her mind, the whispered promises, the secrets hidden away, and the betrayals that shattered her heart. It wasn't the first time Anna had doubted that man, but never before had she felt her heart so conflicted. Recent events had forced Anna to confront the reality that Valentine might still be hiding something. The signs, the suspicious actions, and the secret connections with his old organization made Anna feel once again that she was being pulled into a dangerous maze, where trust had become a double-edged sword. The madness in the way Valentine handled everything, his subtle manipulation, and his ability to vanish every time she got closer to the truth, had Anna on high alert. Anna knew better than anyone that when someone like Valentine began to adjust their life, changing relationships, withdrawing from certain commitments, and rekindling old connect layer by layer like a spider's web, and if Valentine was truly at the center of it all, Anna had to prepare for a battle she could not afford to lose. Emma was caught in an emotional whirlwind like never before, as she increasingly felt excluded from important decisions surrounding Gio, the young man who was not only her close friend, but was slowly becoming a very special part of her heart. She couldn't stand by as she watched Dante, who had just discovered he was Joe's biological father, let emotions override reason and act like a lost man. The indecisive choices, the silent turmoil, and the repressed anger from Dante were pulling everyone around him into a wave of chaos. Emma, with her protective instincts and determination inherited from the Drake family, refused to let Gio get swept up in that. She felt clearly that Gio, who had grown up without knowing his biological parents and was only just beginning to find his place in Port Charles, deserved to know the truth, to have a voice in his own life story. And if Dante or anyone else wasn't ready for that, Emma would step in on Joe's behalf to claim his right to know, his right to exist as a person of real worth. No longer content with silent arguments or warning glances, Emma began to take action. She quietly gathered the missing pieces of Joe's past, from medical records, adoption papers, to clues about Lois hiding the truth. She even reached out to Tracy, who might vehemently oppose her, with the hope of securing legal backing if things escalated. But Emma's actions started to raise concerns among those around her. Brooke Lynn began questioning Emma's true intentions, while Lois became anxious and felt threatened. Worse, Emma was losing control of her emotions. The feelings she thought she had mastered, insecurities, fears of abandonment, the desire for recognition, were now surging. Protecting Gio was no longer about reason or justice, it had become part of an instinctual battle to hold on to what mattered most to her. She was willing to challenge the entire Quartermain family, even Dante, whom Emma once admired as a role model, if it meant helping Gio step into the light, free from the shadow of lies that had plagued him for years. In her anger and determination, Emma didn't realize she was becoming like the people she criticized, willing to sacrifice everything for what she called justice, even her emotions, trust, and personal safety. She didn't know that once the truth was exposed, it could cause relationships to crumble, hurt Gio for not being prepared, and push Emma into a dangerous position as she faced those who didn't want the truth to come out. Then one day, when Emma openly threatened to reveal everything if Dante and Brooke Lynn continued to stay silent, Port Charles seemed to shake. Those who had once trusted Emma's calm and maturity began to question, was she acting for Gio, or out of fear of losing him? Whatever the reason, one thing was clear, Emma was no longer the girl observing from afar. She had entered the battlefield, with all her emotions, reason, and courage. And when the storm of truth blew through Port Charles, no one would be able to pretend like nothing ever happened.